get the paramedic and the defib.
There's a lot of paramedics in the back.
Yeah, really. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please mute your cell phone and rise for the pledge to the flag? I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That's okay. Yeah.
I had the problem last night,
Oh, there it is, right there.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There you go.
Little chair problem. Mr. Secretary, would you do attendance, please?
Mayor Romans,
Here.
President Percival,
Here.
Vice President Capabianco,
Here.
Mr. Bull. Here. Mr. Costigan. Here. Ms. Giannakis.
Here.
Mrs. Haynes.
Here.
Mrs. Skrobak. Chief Murray.
Here.
Mr. O'Connor.
Present.
Ms. Catania.
Yeah.
Ms. Stillwell. Absent. Ms. Matagi.
Here.
Mr. Gronkowitz. Ms. Morris.
Here.
Thank you.
Let the record reflect that Mrs. Skrobak is ill. She is reporting progress for her committee, and Mrs. Stillwell is on vacation. Do we have a motion to accept April's council meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to pass last month's minutes.
Second. Any questions or concerns on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? So moved. Ladies and gentlemen, for those that don't know, we have special counsel this evening. Mr. Robert E. O'Connor is with us in place of Mr. Wills. Mr. O'Connor is special counsel for zoning and civil service. And we thank you again, Robert, for pitching in tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Secretary, do you have correspondence?
I do. Actually, I have a few. What's my letter? Received a packet today from the Delaware County Health and Human Services. In it were resource guides for homeless for 2024. We got a stack. They are in the bins out in the lobby. If anybody knows anybody or wants to take a couple to pass on to people, we have them. They're out there. It says, good afternoon. My name is Latasha E. Carney. My family and I moved to the above address as of February 1st, 2024. Within 2 weeks of living at our new home, Parkside Police Department was called to our home by a neighbor after hearing our disabled brother Jeremy screaming, according to this neighbor, which allegedly caused such great of a concern, it prompted the calling of the police. Our brother Jeremy suffered from nonverbal autism. One of the ways he communicates is by speaking loudly. Friday, May 3rd, 2024, my family received the following photos taken by our neighbor and a warning of my overwatering my severely dry grass and not cutting it in April when my neighbor cut her lawn. Kyle Palmer is my neighbor. Kyle Palmer is also a member of Parkside Borough Zoning Board. Kyle Palmer, based on her intrusive photos, is obviously keeping up with my family's life. Therefore, she should be aware of how dry and how hard the land was when we moved in. Also, given the fact I speak with her boyfriend Matthew from my backyard concerning tips from my backyard, why would my neighbor, Kyle Palmer, not do the neighborly deed of informing she would abuse her power by maliciously and with intent to be a nuisance, create hostility and other unpleasant feelings instead of letting me find out via a warning? I await your response. Respectfully, Latasha Cruz. Dear friend, on behalf of the Aston Public Library Board of Trustees, I'm ready to thank you for your generous $100 donation to the library during the 2024 annual fund drive. Your gift has been essential to continuing our mission of informing, enriching, and empowering our community. Your gift helps us pay our staff, purchase books and other materials, expand programs for young and old, and provide many other services. Private donations like yours are crucial to maintaining our institution and the opportunities it provides to the community. Thanks so much for your support. Sincerely yours, Stephen Sarrazin, Director, Eston Public Library. Attention, Borough of Parkside Council. It's a letter of appreciation from Sandra and David Anderson. A fire at your house is something scary and unexpected. When I noticed a fire in my back addition, I immediately called the dispatcher at 911. As I gave my information and got out of the house with my dogs, I could see and hear the fire trucks rounding my street. It was a cold, snowy, windy, and rainy night. I remember shouting, "Can someone help me with one of my dogs?" Michelle Skrovac, a new member of council, her son, who is a firefighter, and a young lady who lives at the end of my street came to my rescue. They brought me a coat, jacket, gloves, and blankets to keep me warm. Each girl kept one dog warm in the blankets, so I could talk to the firemen and police. There were so many volunteer firefighters putting out the fire and police asking questions. They all did an awesome job. It is so important to support our local firefighters and first responders. Daniel Smith, the fire marshal, emergency management assistant in keeping unwanted and unlicensed fire chasing contractors who entered my property during the fire out of my house. With the help of the township inspector, Joe Ferguson, and a professional licensed contractor that I selected, R.J. Johnson and Sons, we completed the rebuilding of my property in a safe and swift and professional manner. To Borough Council, I previously expressed my displeasure at the inadequacy of the conflict of interest abstaining memorandum. The forms are not available to be viewed by residents until the meeting minutes are approved and uploaded to the website a full month later. Looking at March's forms, I see Councilman Capobianco's reason for abstaining as not to pay fire company and not to pay bills. Similarly, Councilwoman Skrovac's reason for abstaining are to pay fire company and to release the fire company first quarter check. These are the motions that they are abstaining from, not their reason for abstaining. The PA ethics law require the conflict of interest to be announced and in writing. In order number 22-525, Carrick, the PA Ethics Commission findings state, subject to certain statutory exceptions, in each instance of a voting conflict, Section 103J of the Ethics Act would require the public official, public employee, to abstain and to publicly disclose the abstention and reasons for same, both orally and by filling a written memorandum to that effect with the person recording the minutes. To be clear, orally means you must also state the nature of your conflict of interest out loud, in addition to in writing. This language is found verbatim in several other commission orders, including 21-521 Jankovic, 21-503 Silvetti, 21-500 Garrick, 20-548 Householder, 20-537 Ophelio, 19-553 Means, 19-550 Snyder, 19-530 Foster, 19-509 Logsdon. I could keep going on, but I think I made my point. It shouldn't be this hard for residents to know what the nature of your conflict of interest is. Do it the right way, or why bother doing it at all? Kyle Palmer. And Madam President, that is all I have.
Thank you. Mayor, would you like to start with your report?
Thank you, Madam President. Crimes reported in April, there were 3. Attempted motor vehicle theft was 2. Disorderly conduct was 1. Calls for service is 183. The most prevalent were medical emergencies, there were 6. Assist other agencies, 31. Domestic, 6. Building checks, 14. Suspicious persons, 6. Accidents, 2. Traffic detail, 31. Motor vehicle stops, 58. Traffic citations, 6. Warnings, 52. Now, I'm going to turn it over to the chief because he wants to speak about the parking down in Parkside Terrace.
So just a couple things. We'll start with the parking complaint. Obviously, I think all of council has seen the email from one of the residents of Parkside Terrace regarding some parking issues in there. I can assure council we will monitor the situation and see what we can do to resolve it. Since the first of the year, we have been in Parkside Terrace 5 out of every 7 nights, and I have the reports in our system because every time an officer goes in there, he writes a report, monitoring the permit and handicap parking violations. And as of recently, we have not had any issues on those 2 complaints. This is a new complaint, and we will look into it and see what we can do to resolve it. Just a couple of other quick things. As the mayor reported, we had 3 crimes reported in the month of April. It's my pleasure to report that we have arrests in all 3 of those crimes. And the last thing that I'll mention is the grant for the 2 new vehicles. The money has been deposited in our account, and next week I will be meeting with Fred Beans Ford out in Westchester to move forward with signing an agreement to purchase the 2 vehicles.
Great
So,
news.
yeah.
Great news. And it's free money. Mayor, I understand under your mayor's report, we are going to postpone the motion to adopt resolution 1876.
Correct.
The recipient has not been notified yet, and we don't want to spoil the surprise. Also, the Committee for Hometown Heroes, if I can go ahead with that for you. At this time, we're going to create a new committee, Hometown Hero Committee, and I will appoint Mr. Costigan as chair with members, Mrs. Froback and Mrs. Haynes. If you could please make arrangements with Mr. Costigan to bring him up to speed as to what needs done, what has been done, if there's anything left over hanging in the wind. Did you have anything else, Mayor?
No, that was it.
Fire Department, Chief Lamy?
Fire report for April of 2024. The fire company responded to 20 calls for the month of April. We had 5 fire calls, 9 medical calls, 2 hazardous condition calls, 1 service call, 1 good intent call, and 2 false alarms. Just so you know, the fire company has been working with our neighboring fire companies to better understand how each of us work, so we can work together as a team. We have been upgrading our equipment and testing our equipment to make sure we are compliant with NFPA standards. Again, please remember that the firehouse has a food bank, and it's open on every other Tuesday and Thursday. And we're always looking for donations for the food bank. We have bins on the porch if anybody wants to donate. And the last thing is, I'd like to recognize one of our members who was at a carnival recently and came to the aid of a shooting victim. He performed CPR and tried to help stop the bleeding. At the same time, the shooting was still going on. This member's name is Steve Ogram. He's one of ours. And Steve demonstrated what good training will do, and we're very proud of Steve and grateful that he is a member of our company. And that just proves that good training does help everybody. So I just wanted to recognize Steve.
And that's my report.
Please convey our thanks to him.
I will, thank you.
Public citizens agenda related items only. If somebody would like to address council on agenda items only. If not, we'll keep it moving. President's report. I'm going to start off with, I'm going to make a motion to appoint the vacancy board chairperson, Catherine D. Domenico.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? All those opposed?
No.
Let the record reflect Mr. Costigan voted no. Thank you. The president's report, we're going to keep it moving. Representative Kazim's office will be here May 29th from 9:30 until 11:30 in the morning. If anybody wishes to address any problems, she will have an aide here. I'd like to thank the engineer and the volunteers for the Parkside Borough Mini Planning Grant. As I previously indicated, this grant fell through the cracks, and we are under an extreme tight deadline of September. Mr. Gould will chair this, and I would like to thank the following volunteers: Dina Sweeney, Crystal Moore Morris, Kathy Ricchetti, Sue Dolan, Kim Roman, and we have 2 junior council members that volunteer, Daniel and Brianna. We will have a consultant on this program, and we'll be setting up the initial meetings. Again, it's a planning grant that is for $40,000 to give us an idea of how to plan our future in our open space. We are moving forward with the DCED grant and have correspondence with the Commonwealth to confirm that we are indeed interested in doing a match amount. The project that I'm referring to is the sinking underground pipe on Edgemont Avenue, which everybody is aware of. Nothing new. I'd like to take a moment to thank our Fire Marshal Emergency Management Coordinator for updating our emergency operations plan. Mr. Smith and I met this past couple weeks ago, and we updated as much of the information as possible. I'd also like to remind council that come June or July, we as council must adopt the plan through a resolution. I'm sure Mr. Smith will help get us through that. And one thing that Mr. Smith and I talked about was the requirement for elected officials and those being on emergency scenes to have NIMS training. I think those that have seen it on the Pennsylvania Association of Boroughs website, they have a section where they discuss that. The 911 Center this summer has a course, I understand, through Mr. Smith, and he will also get us additional times. If you don't have the National Incident Management System courses, you are not permitted on any type of emergency scene involving hurricanes, tornadoes, any emergency events here in the borough. I believe, Chief Murray, you have the necessary training.
I do.
I do. Miss Sarah does. So we will be under the guidance of our emergency management
I
coordinator.
am also an instructor in all of those.
No, we can talk.
You're going to be sorry you said that.
There we go, council. We will set up something. Thank you.
We can do it right here.
Yeah, we can. Thank you. Let's keep that in mind, elected officials. If you want to be involved in any emergency situations, you must be certified in NIMS. We have received notice from Delaware County that our 2024 liquid fuels will be approximately $1,944. As everybody knows, that goes towards our road program. Also, starting at the beginning of the month, the health department has been notifying municipalities that they're looking for mosquito-borne diseases in our area. And if they find a high area of breeding, they will do the usual setting up of mosquito traps. Moving on, the borough has been informed that we are eligible for a statewide local share assessment grant in the amount of $100,000 from the Commonwealth Financial Authority. As everybody knows, we're very aggressive with grants. We try to apply for many because if you don't apply, you don't know if you get it or not. So this will be on the agenda this evening to replace all the HVAC units throughout this building. I would like to thank Ms. Catania for pre-planning the cost factors, the timeline, and the grant information. It is due Friday. So we will have a resolution on the table. Ms. Catania, before you leave, we'll get you a signed copy. We don't want to miss a step here. Speaking of grants, the Multi-Purpose Community Facilities Program grant has attracted many, many applications. We are one of 599 applications. The award announcements are expected in the future months, so let's keep our fingers crossed that we will be one of the many. Also, and lastly, an update on our LED streetlight program. I've been giving the last update that the equipment has been ordered. It's in the process of being shipped, hopefully by the end of the month. And hopefully we will get this project started in the month of June. But as many know, we are holding off on replacing any more lights. So when we hear of a start date, we will let the fire company know, we will let the police department know, and of course, make announcements to our residents. So that's all I have. I appreciate your patience. And we will move on to our financial report. Mr. Bull.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, the April Treasurer's Report to the Borough of Parkside dated May 10th, 2024 for meeting May 15th, 2024. All bank accounts are reconciled through April 30th. We are including the bank reconciliation and statements for all reconciled funds for council's approval. General fund for the month of April, $118,924.88 was deposited into TD Bank with expenses of $4,191.51 being paid. During this month, $250,666.87 were deposited or were received into Sharon Bank's general fund, and $128,074.76 of expenses were paid, including payroll of $52,936.01. Below are the bank balances per bank statements for April 30th, 2024, and attached are all transactions that flowed through for council's approval. With that said, I would like to make a motion to approve the April Treasurer's Report.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? All those opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I would like to make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? All those opposed?
Abstain. Reason is any and all payments to code enforcement officer.
Thank you. Any other abstain or no votes? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Moving along to the open space report. Real quick, for the group that we just put together, I would like to meet on the fourth Wednesday, being next week. If people are available, that just keeps everything moving along. It'll give us a chance to notify people and get together. Is that all right with you?
So let me give you a little bit of a status of everything. We're waiting for a contract from this consultant. We have not received that as of yet signed, so that will have to get executed by the borough. We did get the okay for all of the residents that were appointed this evening from the county. And I was told that I don't need to wait for any future approvals to get started and keep this moving. They've agreed to our schedule, which is the consultant schedule, that will start in May and will go until November. We'll have public meetings as well as the study committee meetings, which also will be public, but they're for the consultant to have conversations with the steering committee. They call it study committee. I call it a steering committee because they're more or less steering what the community wants for their community versus a study committee. That being said, I don't have a problem with meeting the fourth Wednesday of the month. I think, though, if you want to have a kickoff so we can explain what everybody's doing, I just don't want to have a meeting to have a meeting since we don't have the consultant on board at this point. We don't have a contract with them. So I don't know whether they would be available two Wednesday nights, right? That's the Wednesday before Memorial Day, right?
I just want to keep things moving.
yeah.
So if there was just an introductory with basically how everything goes, everybody knows one another essentially, so it's not the end of the world.
We will
as
have a
far as that
kickoff.
goes.
We will have an open space kickoff. That in all likelihood will be with Mr. Platt, Mr. Paul, if you're available, the consultant, just things that they need from us. I've already begun to we have so much material. I'm joking, because we have so much open space. They want plans of the open space areas, the whole 2.5 that we have, if you want to call it Island, an open space. But they want all of that information, grants that we have, that we've received or are pending, those types of things. So I already know what they're looking for, so I'm putting that together. But I think until we have something from JMT that, or it's Collier, wrong municipality, JMT is Norwood's, that we probably should hold on.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
Let's, tentatively, it'll be the fourth Wednesday subsequently, just to keep things
Yeah.
moving.
Now, we have a deadline through the county of September. Will they extend it to November?
Yes.
Okay, that's good news.
Open space report, the tree work is 99% done. There's a couple little punch lists to just get some logs out and a few things like that. Check's already been drafted. I think they did a fantastic job. They definitely kept safety as a paramount, and there was nothing else to report, and they did a really nice job for us. So I would say they were a contractor in good standing with us moving forward if we had any other work that was required. And I don't know, by chance, by happening, by something, I was in a business meeting, and concrete contractor had mentioned that they do the lifting of concrete for repairs and things like that. So it's outside of my wheelhouse. So I had forwarded his proposal to Ms. Catania, and she said there was a plan A, plan B, and a plan C. So, I mean, you want to discuss it, or I can go a little bit further into it? It's, I guess, to repair it, to make it safe, public safety, it's $2,700. They fix it. I don't know how long that buys us, but it's got to buy us like 10 or 15 years, I have to believe, if they're doing those types of lifts, that it has some lifespan. And then the other part was redesigning how the loops on, this is for Wes Cole Memorial. There's some tripping hazards around the elm trees that I'm fond of because I planted them like 25 years ago. So I don't want to cut them down as far as that goes. I think they add to the borough. So we had an estimate to do some repair work for $2,700, and I ran it past the engineer to see what your feelings were. I'd like a thumbs up or a thumbs down before we vote on it.
Yeah, we had a while back talked about taking any of the blocks that had moved, and they're moving because of roots. I'm concerned that we spend the $2,700 and we are back to square one a few years from now. It's your money. You can decide to do it immediately. The other thought that I had, and as Doug and I talked, is let's take out the area. There's two specific areas, the loop, if you want to call it that, half of the loop on one side of this, I'm going to call it the stair side.
Yeah.
There's a 3.5-inch lip currently. That's because of roots growing. If we lift those areas, that's great, but we're still going to have root growth. So I don't know how quickly that happens, but that's a concern. What I did was did a very quick sketch just to remove sections, and then we would have to clean up so that it was a good, excuse me. Let me back up because I don't know that I explained the whole thing. The other side, which I call the ADA side, that side also has an area, and it's predominantly on the one side of the tree that we would be able to take that out. So instead of having a loop around the trees, we would just have a flowing sidewalk. Again, there are a couple areas that we still would have to fix, but it wouldn't be the $2,700. Depends on, I didn't get a cost to demolish the sidewalk area that we would be removing, and then we'd have to put topsoil and seed down, which I think Brian could probably put the topsoil and seed down to keep your costs down. But as far as removing the concrete, we could get a quick price for that. Might be like $4 a square to do that. It's really up to council. I don't know where you want to go. That's really up to you.
I was leaning towards the repairs to keep the integrity of that. And I think just with root growth in that buttress flare area, I think it gets us a solid 10 years as far as that goes. So there will be defects in 10 years that will pose mild trimming. As far as that goes, the trees will continue to grow. And it gives us enough time to establish a plan to, rather than just take it out, maybe actually like reshape it, which would be the only recommendation I would make is like when it comes time to, I don't know. I think Wesley Cole's due for a little bit of a facelift. It's been 25 years since it was put in. You know, I would love a clock tower there because I'm obviously not getting my bridge.
Perhaps in a couple of years, we might get a free grant.
But I want I've always wanted the bridge for the
It's
elementary
been a
school.
long-standing grant because Doug and I are most senior members of this council. When we put in West Cole Memorial many years ago, Mr. Bull wanted a bridge over Edgemont Avenue so people could walk over. Unfortunately, we could not afford that then, and we cannot afford it now.
But it would be beautiful. We could put Welcome to Parkside on both sides.
Future generations, people. Mr. Bull, do you want to make a motion to go ahead and do hydraulics on those?
I would like to make that motion. I think it's a solid contractor. I was late to sending out the email, but I believe you now have it in possession, the secretary, and I believe it's Matt. Did you get it?
I got it. I'll second that motion.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So moved. And Mr. Bull, you'll let the contractor know.
I'll let the secretary know.
Okay.
Thank you. With that, I will report general progress.
Junior council report, Mr. Costigan?
Thank you, Madam President. I want to start off by acknowledging Maha. This is going to be her last meeting.
Yes.
She's going to Morocco for the next meeting, so she won't be here. But I just want to thank you for all your efforts these last 2 years. It's been great having you. Hopefully you've learned a thing or two about the council and how things work, local government. So
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was great working with you guys, and I hope to keep in contact in the future.
So that being said, we will have an opening on our junior council now that Maha is moving on to a brighter future here. So our application has been posted on the website. I'm working with the high school to get it disseminated, I guess, to the students so that they can apply, they know where it is, know where to find it. But it is on the website now, so if anybody knows any high school students who are interested in being on our junior council for next year, we're looking for a dedicated student who can help make a difference in our community like Maha did these last 2 years. And of course, like Brianna and Daniel have done, and will continue to do next year. So then I'll turn it over to them for their project updates.
So just a quick update on my memorial garden down at the Woodlot. This weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to be putting down flowers in the flower pots that lead down to the Woodlot. And also another thing is I wrote a letter a little while ago, hopefully for a fundraiser to get some funds for the memorial garden. But I've already spoke to one business, which is Razor's Edge, and he said he's willing to donate some money, but I still have to send out copies of the letter through letterhead, and that's about it.
So for me, I had the first idea of a babysitting night,
but I want to push that back until next school year, just because we want to have it on a school night and it'll be hard to advertise and get signups before June 13th, which is the last day of school. But also we have a new idea for a bingo. So the junior council, we want to sponsor a bingo at Fairacres Geriatric Center. And they have all the bingo equipment supplied for us. All we need to do is get donations from Parkside residents or citizens here. And it's small things like picture frames, nail polish, stuffed animals, playing cards. Those are just suggestions, so any other ideas are welcome. It's not open to the public due to COVID regulations, but it'll be a good deed for the local seniors. And I want to have a box here in the borough for donations to give to the residents there.
Alright. So I think that's all we have for junior council. You were saying,
So today, before we came here, Michelle Basari dropped off a couple of plants for down. I was supposed to mention that. That's all I want to say on that.
Michael, do you have anything else?
nope, that's it for junior
Super.
council.
We're gonna move on to the recreation report, Mayor Roman.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to thank everybody that came out and participated in our community day. It was a bit damp. The weather didn't want to participate, but we had a good flow of people coming and going. The kids enjoyed themselves between Dina doing the face painting, the character guy, but the field games, they loved. I just want to bring up again, June 15th, we're doing our movie night here at Parkside. Recreation decided to do the Sandlot. So that'll start at dusk. The 4th of July parade, you come here at 10:30, start registering the children. The parade will start at 11. We send out those yellow flyers, you know, if there's anything, you don't know what's going on, just check out the flyers. It's got all of our events. You can also look at our Facebook page, the Parkside Recreation Committee Bulletin, or email us at parksiderec19015 Gmail. Our next meeting is Wednesday, June 5th, here at the Borough. Volunteers are always welcome. Allison, do you have anything you may want to?
No, just that the registration for the 4th of July party is day of, is morning of, so there's no like pre-registration that's gonna be required, like for the Christmas party, you just come that morning and register.
That's all I have to say.
Super.
Thank you.
The weather was not the best,
Oh.
but everybody seemed to enjoy themselves at Community
See
Day.
those little kids, they were out there that whole time. They,
Kids didn't mind.
no, I don't even think the parents minded because they stayed pretty steady.
Thank you and your committee, they did a great job.
Thank you.
Moving on to Police and Public Safety, Vice President Capabianco.
Thank you, Madam President. Before I go on my reports, I'd like to say something about the first correspondence that our secretary had read this afternoon, Natasha. That's a rental property, and I went over there and inspected it. The inside of that house is immaculate. I had the pleasure of meeting her brother, disabled brother, Jeremy, who is a sweet, kind gentleman. So I just want to put that out there.
Thank you.
For public safety, I got general progress. For code enforcement, we had several issues of overgrown grass. The following is at 100 block of East Rowan, 2700 block of Edgemont, 2800 block of Edgemont, unit block of East Shelton, unit block of East Elbon, and the 100 block of East Avon. That was all overgrown grass, and they all got warnings. One of them is, has a court date with me because of it. Moving on to license and inspections. There were 16 building permits, 1 plumbing, 2 mechanical, and 2 electric. And that's all I have.
Super. Any questions for the Vice President? Mrs. Grobak's not here. She reported progress. We'll move on to Public Works and Property. Ms. Allison.
Thank you, Madam President. Ongoing matters for Public Works, cutting grass on all the borough properties, the woodlot, the Memorial Park, the Borough Hall, traffic island, the catwalk, all of that is ongoing. All the reported potholes have been repaired. And just to remind everybody, to please call the office and let us know if you need to report any other potholes. We have some new traffic signs that are going up. I believe there's 3 of them on the west side, one on West Elbon, one by Razor's Edge, one on West Avon. So we have those new traffic signs, they're in, and they'll be put up in the coming weeks. And all the storm drains have been and will continue to be cleared, so that's just ongoing matters. Also, the speed bumps have been something that the residents have been bringing up, and we did look into pricing for the equipment that we need for that. So with that said, we need a generator and we need some spikes for holding down the speed bumps. And the pricing ranges for those, I'd like to make a motion. The generators range from $550 to $750, and we need one of those. And the spikes for holding down the speed bumps are about $150 to $200. So if that's something that council is interested in getting done pretty quickly as the summer approaches, I know the residents would be happy about that. I can make a motion for each one separately. So a motion to.
You can join them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So one for the generator, not to exceed $750, and then one for the spikes, not to
The
exceed
project
$200.
being under $1,000.
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Any questions on the motion?
I just have a quick question. From previous years with the speed bumps, did we not have this equipment or?
Firehouse supplied that.
Okay.
It
You
was
can
not
thank the
our,
firehouse for that.
yeah, it was not our equipment. We
Both of the spikes too?
The only thing we purchased was the spikes, and when they pulled them up, many of them were destroyed, bent,
Okay.
non-usable. We do have the speed, I keep calling them
Bumps.
speed bumps, but I know there's a technical term. We do have those in the garage when we purchased them. And last fall, I believe we already made a motion to purchase a generator, but we're refreshing that, obviously a new council. And the spikes need to be replaced every time you go and use them.
I mean, interrupt you there, the new spikes that we're going to get are the kind you can keep into the ground and screw in and out. So we don't, not messing up our streets anymore.
Okay,
I've got to tell you that, sorry.
that's a good idea.
Well, yeah, it's mine for you.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
There you go.
And yes, our residents have been asking and
Yeah.
they are concerned. Any other questions on the motion? All those in favor? All those opposed? So moved.
Thank you. That's about it. With that, I'll just report general progress.
Super, thank you. And we'll let our roadmaster know to go ahead and start the project. If anybody would like to help, please let Ryan know. It's a hard job, it really is, but with a new generator, we should be okay. All right, thank you, Miss Allison. We're gonna move on to emergency management, fire marshal. Mr. Smith, do you have anything this evening?
Thank you, Madam President. Quick report, April, Fire Marshal Emergency Management Office, we did 6 commercial business inspection, 5 passed with minor repairs to bring to code. 1, it's gonna take them a little bit of time to get their business up to code. I did drop off the certificates with the code enforcement officer today. I also started working on the updated EOP manual for the borough. That's gonna take some time. As for fire marshal, there's no fire call outs. So I have that, President.
Super, thank you. Moving right along to recycling, MS4, Mr. Costigan.
Thank you, Madam President. Our totals for the month of April, trash, 118.21 tons, and recycling, 18.18 tons. I can report that our electronic recycling event is going to be on Saturday, June 8th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. noon in the Parkside School parking lot. I got confirmation from the school district that we have the go-ahead for that. So again, that's June 8th, 9 a.m. to 12 noon for the electronic recycling.
And, Mr. Secretary, can we get something on the website?
I was just gonna ask him if you had a flyer associated.
Yeah, the
with that.
flyer is posted on the website, thanks to Theo, and I think I was working with Sarah to get it on social media so that people know what's coming.
So tell your neighbors, we got electronic recycling going in.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem.
Anything else?
Nope, that's all right.
Super. Communications, Mrs. Haynes.
Yes, the website photo gallery has been reopened. Thank you to Sue Dolan for sending a lot of pictures. If anybody else has any more pictures to submit at any of our events, we're gonna build a big gallery online for anybody to access. Also, on the 30th, there is the book club, and that is at 6 p.m.
Here.
here.
Anything else?
That is all.
Super. We have another, what I keep calling new newsletter coming up. So if any of the committees have any information that you specifically want, other than what we've been talking about, recreation, mayor, you might want to put some blurbs in there for fall events. And anybody else who has anything, please get it to Miss Sarah, so we get it out on the newsletter for the next round. Mr. Platt, yes.
He does. But I have a question first for Sarah. What is the deadline on the newsletter?
It's due to go out in June, so I would say the beginning of June.
Okay. I had a phone call today from a resident who has been trying to send an email, but it just keeps bouncing back. She's trying to send it to me. She's trying to send it to you. I've confirmed that she has the right email addresses, but it just hasn't come in yet. So I've asked her if she has something to just drop it off if she's in the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Tax collector's report. Good evening. Treasurer has received a total of $959,553.03 to date. There was $648,616.82 in revenue deposits from April 8th to April 30th. Regards, official.
Super, thank you. Engineers report, Ms. Catania?
Thank you, Madam President. As you had discussed earlier, we do have a legislative set-aside grant that we were asked to update for a change of scope, which was the HVAC. I did send, we got an email, the chief and I got an email this morning from Tracy Brown. So I sent, ahead of the resolution, I sent the cost estimate, the project description, and the other supporting material, the timelines, other supporting material for that grant to Tracy. I told her that we would be adopting a resolution this evening for that particular grant. So I'm going to ask council to consider a motion to adopt resolution 1875, HVAC replacement, Borough Hall and Police Station.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? All those opposed? So moved.
As you had advised or authorized last month, I did prepare and take bids for the 2024 road program. I know that we would be around $40,000 in the estimate. We had a sole bidder, AF Damon of Upland, and his bid came in at $36,910. I'm going to recommend award to AF Damon since it was within our cost estimate. And just advise that the $1,944 that was mentioned earlier will come off of that. So we'll be spending somewhere around $34,000 in the liquid fuels where we were expecting to do about 40. So that's good news.
That's West Avon, correct?
I'm sorry?
Is that West Avon?
So that's West Avon,
Yeah.
but I also included Roland. We have a really bad section right at the intersection with Edgemont.
He's rolling?
And yes. And I included that as part of it.
Right.
It's only, I want to say it's 30 feet that we were going to do the width of the road just to get that cleaned up. So
That's
a little
one,
bit more than
yeah, that was
once.
one of the potholes that were filled. It's every year.
Yeah, so I decided that we're going to mill it and pave it, and probably hold up a little bit better.
Thank you very much for that.
Sure.
And that's West Roland.
He's rolling.
East Roland.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid from AF Damon in the amount of $36,910 and to have a contract prepared.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, those opposed? So moved.
And the only other thing that I have is I attended the first meeting, the kickoff meeting of the countywide Act 167 ordinance. Counties received funding to do a plan of all of the stormwater management of the whole county. So typically we have Ridley Creek Act 167 plan. We had a Chester Creek 167 plan. We had a Darby Cobbs Creek 167. So they'll be taking all of those plans and making it an easier regulation for stormwater management. They'll also do Naaman's Creek, which is on the west side of Delaware County that has never had an Act 167 plan. One of the reasons they wanted to have the kickoff meeting is they are going to need public assistance with this. So they're going to be doing surveys, they're going to be doing public meetings, and they're asking that residents get involved because it obviously involves flooding, there's climate change, there's a lot of things that are going, resiliency, sustainability, all the keywords that we've been talking about for quite a while will be part of this plan. So I'm excited to see it. I was a little disappointed that we had a small turnout, but I'm sure as things move forward, we'll see a lot more people at those meetings. They've invited each municipality to have one representative on that task force. And other than that, I can just report general progress.
Any questions for the engineer? And Mr. Wills did not leave a report.
You got off easy.
You did, you got off easy.
I can read you text messages from this trip if you like.
Moving on. Common citizen items. Ladies and gentlemen, this is when the public gets to a question concerning an issue.
I'd like to thank everybody for turning out for election. It was a nice day. We were steady, but it worked. We were slow for a while there too. But again, social media is getting a little out of hand. I brought up again about the right to news, and of course, it's all over Facebook again. If it continues, I'm going to put a stop to it. I'm going to have to sue that person because I'm tired of it. I'm getting bullied. I'm being told I'm the bully. Well, I'm not the bully. All I did is ask a question. I didn't mention names. So I don't know how I'm a bully.
Thank you.
Oh, Catherine did a minute ago. I'm sorry.
Speaking of bullies.
Your turn.
Speaking of bullies.
Does anybody else wish to address the council?
Hi, I'm Latasha Carney, the resident who sent the email. Kylie Palmer is my next door neighbor, and I found out that she was part of the committee. I want to say the right committee, the zoning committee.
She was appointed as a zoning member.
Okay.
Along with 4 or 5 other members.
So, and I had to find out that the hard way, she was stalking my home. And I say stalking because even though we had interaction, she never did the neighborly, Kylie Palmer never did the neighborly deed to just tell me, you know, look, zoning is really strict since we just moved in the house in February. So our grass was growing. It was like really bad when we moved there, like really bad. And so I was nurturing the grass and she was aware of this, but she still was very malicious and reported that I was overwatering my grass. And I've never heard that term because the grass was like, there was no grass. So it's just watering the ground so that the grass could come up. And her intrusive photos, you know, she didn't just take the pictures, the photos of my grass. She also took photos of my vehicle and also my neighbor's vehicle. So, and I want to say this too, after I found out what she does and what she stands for, when I put the American flag up, because I believe that's what triggered her, when I put the American flag up, we're Americans, I respect the flag. It should never trigger someone to lash out and use their power in any form to be vindictive to their neighbor. Because I'm an American, I respect the flag. I shouldn't feel like, you know, that I'm gonna be taunted by my neighbor for putting up the American flag. I did take it down, but I have since put it back up after meeting with the inspector who encouraged me to put it back up. So I just wanted to say Kylie Palmer, you know, she didn't know anything about me. She's just very, not a nice person. She's a bully. And I hope that in the future, I don't have to deal with her. But if I do, I'll be back here. All right, thank you.
Does anybody else wish to address council?
Oh, sorry.
Hi, Judy Saunders, 62 East Shelton Road, Parkside. I want to believe that we're going to move forward with unity. It feels like there is one specific person who's under attack here, and she is not there to defend herself. And I've heard repeatedly from you, President Percival, that that is something you will not tolerate in this room. But apparently we do, and it's one person. For someone to say that someone who has stood beside me doing better things for this community was offended by a flag being put up without ever talking to her, to make that assumption is kind of being a bully too. If you decide that you put your flag up and therefore this person's pissy about how you're dealing with your lawn, I've had neighbors that have problems in their lawn. I've had people that have complained about our trees hanging too low. I appreciate that social media is not the place to put that. I would agree with that. I would agree that this public forum is not the place to come and say that somebody was picking on you because they're not American. That has been a rallying cry that, quite frankly, me as married to a veteran whose brother died in Vietnam, whose father and grandfather served in World War I and World War II, I don't appreciate it. You don't know how she was triggered, that the code enforcement officer went on there and laid it on thick. Not appropriate. Not appropriate when he's doing his job. I'm sorry. If we want to move forward with unity, we need to be transparent and be kind to each other. Thank you.
I agree with you, and it's a shame that people can't understand that on both sides of the aisle and on social media. Does anybody else wish to address council? Moving on. I see we have no business. Does anybody on council
Can
have?
I add 2 things to the old business, or do we have to amend that?
No, go ahead. We'll just,
Are you sure?
I don't know. We'll have to wait for your judgment to come down from above.
All right, well, these are all in good faith for everyone, so hopefully it doesn't violate sunshine order things as far as that goes. And I could have done it at Call to Citizens, so it should not draw any.
Do you wish to go to call citizens as a citizen?
I'm a citizen, but no, actually, years ago, we did a outstanding citizen. We did it
Yes.
a couple times.
Yes.
And I was a little bit like stunned, I guess. I'm still new to this whole shooting at on Kirtland Street and like all the chaos that happened. But to hear that we had a resident of Parkside step up in as far as that goes, it seems fitting to
Wonderful.
give him a citation at some point if council thinks that's appropriate. I don't have a whole lot of background information, but we certainly could do something nice if we
And-
all work together.
Would you get with the chief, fire chief, and get the particulars?
If he's willing. Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Perfect. So we'll work on that for June, as far as that goes. So hopefully that plays out well. And then the second thing is,
I'm gonna a lot of second.
what's that?
Go ahead.
He said he had two.
I said two. I said 2 points. 2 points. The Marine Corps Detachment 288 in Upland is going to do a flag retirement ceremony on Memorial Day at 1. So I'll collect flags here basically until that Sunday, as far as that goes. So, and I know I was welcome. So you let me do that so I can.
Can we put something on our website that, if anybody has any older destroyed flags, bring them here, and Mr. Bull will take them up to the Marine Corps, they can upload.
And if anybody has an interest to it, on a side note, the way
It's amazing.
the way it's done, if you know where it was bought, if you knew, like, if it flew over grandmom's house, if you have some names or things like that, we really do dedicate the flag before we retire it. So if somebody does have that information, all the better. Put it on a little, I don't know what they call them, bobby pin it to it or something like that, and I'll make sure it's read out loud.
Get that out there.
So that's all I have.
Super. Anybody else have any more business? Under new business, I'll just make one quick comment. Actually, I'll make two quick comments.
No.
June council meeting will be on Tuesday, June 18th. Okay, it's on a Tuesday in June because Wednesday, June 19th is a celebration. So we are not going to hold our council meeting that evening. My second comment is when we have call to citizens, when somebody comes up and addresses council, I have no way of knowing what they're going to say. We have had other members of the community address neighborhood issues. There's nothing we as council can do, but we are here to give them their 2 minutes, and that's the end of it. Anybody have any new business, old business, or monkey business?
Making motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.